Greetings, family. Pastor Jamal here. Pray everybody's doing good today. So as I said yesterday, we're going to continue on with our little mini moments of divine flow here. So I did part one. This is like part one of part. I did part one. I said a 5, but it probably would be 6 because today I am just going to go over something before I continue in it. But I think this is real crucial. Actually, the Lord woke me up, and I believe He put this on my heart to add this into the mix of the little mini teaching. So this is small too, and it'll go fast, but it's a necessity. We gotta catch something. You know what I mean? And so without further ado, let's get into it. So this is a moment where we're talking about the whole mini series per se is about divine flow being God's operating system. It's God's design for how we are to live, literally on the earth. The way that we are to live kind of like how we were created to live. So divine flow is that technology. It is that system. So, but before I continue in that, I wanted to go over, or the Spirit wants to go over first, what keeps us out of divine flow. So what's keeping you out of divine flow, whether it be intentionally or unintentionally? What's keeping you out of the divine flow? Here we are. What keeps us out of divine flow is self-directed living. Self-directed living. The internal drive to lead ourselves. The internal drive to lead ourselves. Everything else, like fear, doubt, distractions, sin patterns, emotional instability, confusion, anxiety, these are symptoms. They're symptoms. But the core issue is this: the human instinct to remain in control. That's one. The tendency to trust self-preservation over divine guidance. That's 2. The reflex to navigate life from our own logic, feelings, and assumptions. That's 3. This internal drive to lead ourselves forces us into a life powered by self-effort, which is the opposite of divine flow. Why is this so crucial? Why is it so critical? Divine flow is powered by surrender. Divine flow is powered by surrender, not strategy. It is activated by trust, not tension. It is sustained by rest and not resistance. So again, divine flow is powered by surrender, not strategy. It's activated by trust, not tension. It is sustained, kept by rest, not resistance. So when a believer is still overthinking or in overthinking mode, protecting their ego. This is a side note, y'all. I gotta add this in here. I was like, I wanted to say this, but I wasn't sure the Lord was gonna let me say it. But this little moment right here, I'm all about transparency, and I really want to remain teachable. The Lord had actually given me a dream, and a year or so ago, and He was like, "Where I'm taking you, what I've given you, the vehicle that I've given you, it's literally something that is on autopilot. There is so it has its own built-in automation that's going to take you where it belongs per se. But then it was a piece in there, but it said there are certain turns or there are certain things that the navigation or the automation is not going to be able to make. So almost like if you programmed your car to drive, there will be certain terrain where you're going to have to take the wheel. You're going to have to maneuver it because it's not programmed for that type of maneuver. So yesterday, the first mini moment here, I had a thumbnail, and y'all was trying to come at me, you know what I mean, about that thumbnail, and a person brought it up very, very tasteful way. He brought it up. He basically was saying certain things and how the image was representative of Kundalini yoga. It's a yoga position and kundalini and things. So my first initial thought was this. Well, first let me add this in here. What y'all don't know about me is I am when I do what I do is because I'm a type of creative. So I don't look at things immediately and go into what's wrong with them if I'm sparked by an inspiration. So that was the initial thing, and there's nothing that I didn't understand with the comments or what the comments were implying. But I wanted to say things are not done out of ignorance. They're because had the Lord told me, that's a side note. And this is cool. This is an organic divine flow moment. So when I had the thought to do the little lesson, I'm always struggling with the thumbnails and with those little things because I'm just like my mind just wants to do so many different things. So the initial thought I had was some type of image of an internal computer system. You know what I mean? An internal drive. You know what I mean? When we're in the technology age, so something around that. But then when I was doing it, I wanted to make sure that we were connecting it to the spirit. So I said the way I said it, and that's the image that it generated. So I was like, okay, I understand what it could look like, but hey, I'm just going to go with it. So that moment, the initial imagery that it was going for, I altered it because of what I thought was reasonable. But I want to say that the image or the images or the things that come from me, they don't come out of ignorance or they don't come out of like I don't understand something. It's basically an innocence, but innocence doesn't mean or it doesn't always mean the right thing. Now I'm still not bending towards a specific ideal when it comes to the imagery because this whole mission of divine flow, a lot of messages that I hear, a lot of messages that we see on social media, a lot of things that the church is regurgitating, it does not point to identity. It does not point to what Jesus gave us. It doesn't, everything that you guys are trying to win or how you're trying to win the breakthroughs that you're trying to go after, the warfare that you're trying to have victory over, is all found in identity. Meaning, if there's something that God needs you to know, the identity is going to tell you, or the identity is going to make room for a repositioning or a rerouting, and that's to say the least. So I want you to know if you see something or if you hear something that it pricks your spirit or whatever, and you don't necessarily understand what you're seeing or what you're hearing, know that identity is the most important thing right now. I mean, it's probably been the most important thing, but it's the most important thing because everything you need is found in identity. If you need to understand the mind of God, it's found in identity. If you need to conquer your devils in the moment, it's found in identity. If you need to learn the things to how to be in certain situations and seasons, it's found in identity. The church is neglecting identity and it's costing the believer. So this ministry is going to be dedicated to training and teaching you how to swim towards identity. Divine flow is the framework, and the gears are inside, which we talked about yesterday, which in essence leads you to the switch turning on and the identity being revealed. You are a new creation. You have a new divine nature, and that divine nature helps you in every single situation. So I wanted to add that part in there just in case you guys saw that image because I did wind up changing it because I did understand how malleable people are. And when I say that, I mean, when you're in a particular place, you're easily swayed. You're easily, uh, I don't know, man. You're easily moldable, and I get that because we all are that in our seasons. So I wanted to be moldable in this season and say, hey, I'm not going to be prideful here. I'm going to be teachable, and I'm going to switch out this thumbnail. But I want you to realize, I want you to know something. And I already just said it. This is not this ministry's mandate. We're here to take you higher, rising ground. We're here to take you higher than the ground you're presently on. And if you're worried and scared about devils and demons and yoga, and all those things, then um, you really need to be a part of getting your identity together. Again, I get the wisdom of it, but for those because the Bible says, if if a person is offended by what you eat, then don't eat it in front of them. If their present state of maturity is like that, then they don't eat it in front of them. And I get that. So there was kind of one of those moments. So let's keep going. We're almost finished here. So when the believer is still in overthinking, protecting their ego, relying on natural instincts, reacting out of fear, interpreting life from wounds, that's a big one, interpreting life from wounds, or trying to control outcomes, they automatically disconnect from the divine flow. They automatically disconnect from the divine flow. Not because God withdraws from them, but because flow requires yieldedness, and our self-led nature competes for the driver's seat. Our self-led nature competes with the driver's seat, which kicks us out of flow. Put simply, we miss divine flow because we don't stop being our own source. You miss being in the flow, which is going to take you to the thriving place, which is your divine nature, completely visible. When we live from ourselves, then we miss that. We miss it. We got to catch it, man. We are our own. When we are our own source, we'll miss the recipe for complete and total success and breakthrough. This is the clearest, most universal, most accurate description of what keeps people from living inside divine momentum. We try to live from ourselves instead of living life from God's life moving through us. God's life moving through us. That's the divine nature. God's life moving through us. Biblically, this is the core conflict. Paul describes it as walking in the flesh versus walking in the spirit, or walking by the spirit, leaning on your own understanding. This is the conflict. Walking by the flesh versus the spirit, leaning on your own understanding, setting your mind on earthly things, striving instead of resting in grace. The flesh is simply a part of us that insists, I know better. I'll handle it. I'll figure it out. I must control this. This is the flesh. The flesh. That's its insistence, its tendency. That posture suffocates the flow every time. That posture suffocates the flow every single time. The freedom in this, or the truth, divine flow begins the moment you stop managing your life and start yielding to God's life. When a believer surrenders their need, when a believer surrenders their need to understand, their need to control outcomes, their need to protect themselves, their emotional narratives, and their timelines per se, the gears begin to turn. Obedience becomes effortless, authority becomes natural, and receiving becomes automatic. Divine nature becomes visible. Your Christ identity, your new creationness becomes visible. Man, I pray you guys get it. Go back over it if you need to, which you probably should, because we all need to. And we need to continue hearing this over and over again so that we'll be in the right posture, man. And I know a lot of people have excuses in their minds like, man, well, you don't know what it's like to not be able to pay rent or pay this, or your health is declining and you don't know what else to do. But yeah, we do. We know exactly what that's like. But you're bringing a confusion or a dilemma or a monkey wrench in the design of God. This is the design of God, the creator of everything. He designed us to be like this, and Christ repositioned us so that we can have it. So That's it, folks. Pastor Jamal, Rising Ground Church. I'll see you tomorrow as we continue part 2 of Divine Flow, the operating system for Christ likeness in the earth. I'll talk to you. Peace.